Hey, Richest, you money maniacs, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about a new surprise tax on unemployment benefits. Woohoo! Let's get right to it. Hey, Richest, you money maniacs, welcome back. Tom coming at you. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I hope everybody's enjoying the beginning of their new year. This video, I want to discuss something that came up back in the middle of December, near the end actually, and it was actually reported by Fox News. That means it might actually be true. Maybe, possibly. There's a real strong possibility that there could be a small word in there that might actually have some credibility to it. So let's get to it. What are we talking about? What we're talking about is all of these unemployment benefits that have been paid out, right, to people who were forced out of their jobs by the health crisis, or as George Gammon likes to say, the cerveza sickness. I think that's probably the perfect name for it. So the idea here is that tax dollars are being paid to people who are out of work, who were forced out of work by their elected officials and by non-governmental agencies and by the World Health Organization and by people who aren't even really doctors for that matter, because of a worldwide quote-unquote crisis. I'm not even going to say the other word. So what does that mean? So pretend that maybe you're that person because you're watching The Richest You and trying to finally understand how finance works and maybe to try and finally get yourself out of a really bad situation. If you're that person, you're receiving money from the government for free because you're unemployed to try and just keep you afloat, keep your bills paid, keep you fed, keep you with a roof over your head, all types of different things. Even things like you don't have to pay your rent because it's on forbearance. And of course, there's a whole other video on that about the real estate market crashing because of those very things. These are challenges that were created by elected officials. They created this by making the decisions that they did and then trying to get everybody to do what they told them to do without any real thinking about the consequences and the far-reaching ripple effect that each of those decisions would have. Now, here's a perfect example. If you were forced out of your job because the business that you worked for was forced to close and then was forced out of business because the lockdowns went for so long, you probably are receiving unemployment benefits from the federal government to help you out. Well, guess what? Those benefits are taxable. Think about that for a second. That has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. We're going to shut your business down that you work for. We're going to put you out of work, but it's okay because we're going to feed you and clothe you and house you. Oh, but make sure you pay your taxes on that money that we're giving you. Well, then give me less and don't tax me, you stupid idiots. Did I say that out loud? I did. Apologies. I said that out loud. Why don't they just give people that little bit less, or why not just say that those benefits are actually tax exempt? Now, some of the states actually make it so that those benefits are tax exempt, but the federal government still wants taxes on it because they consider it income. Now, think about that for a second when you go and you cash your stimulus check. Guess what? Next year, that's going to be considered income. So all those stimulus checks that you've been living off of, that big whopping $600 or that big whopping $1,200 from before, you're going to be taxed on that. So I don't know how much that's going to be at this point, maybe a couple bucks, but you're going to be taxed on it. Be ready to make sure that you claim that on your taxes or be guilty of perjury, which is a felony, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So if you lie on your taxes, it's perjury, that's felony, now you know. And remember, knowing is half the battle. So let's go right to this article by Fox. Here we go, Fox Business. Ooh. Fox Business article, millions of Americans receiving unemployment aid could face surprise tax bill. Unemployed Americans have two options to avoid an unexpected tax hit next year. How ridiculous. I mean, just think about that title for a second. Tell me that doesn't defy logic completely. Okay, we're back to the article. Millions of out-of-work Americans who are collecting unemployment benefits as a result of the coronavirus pandemic could face an unpleasant surprise when they file their taxes next year. That's because unemployment benefits, including the extra money distributed through federal aid programs, count as taxable income. Surprise, surprise. Happy New Year. Unemployment benefits vary by state, but the $2.2 trillion CARES Act signed into law at the end of March sweetened the aid, giving beneficiaries an additional $600 per week through the end of July. The average laid-off worker was receiving about $930 per week in benefits before the boosted aid expired, prompting President Trump in August to issue an executive order partially restoring the supplemental at $300 a week. Congress also passed a $900 billion coronavirus relief package this week that would extend jobless aid by $300 a week through mid-March. However, those benefits are not expected to kick in until the beginning of January if Trump signs the bill into law. Well, I actually believe that has been signed into law at this point. So this was from the 23rd of December. A recent survey conducted by Jackson Hewitt Tax Service found that 38% of Americans receiving benefits were unaware that the money was taxable, and nearly 2/3 of those individuals had not set aside or withheld money from the payment for their 2020 income taxes. This year, there is a real potential for refund shock, said Mark Stieber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt. A large number of people receiving unemployment benefits don't know that the benefits are taxable, that taxes are not automatically withheld, or that unemployment pay can impact their other tax credits. So there you have it. They're putting you out of work, they're closing your business down, then they're handing you free money, and then they're taking it back. There's no sense to that, except there is one potential reason for doing that. Because you have to keep the government workers going. You have to give them something to do. And if the IRS doesn't have anybody to tax, well, they might have to lay people off. They might have to close a few departments and trim back the bloated size of the agency. And maybe some of the government employees might have to lose their jobs. And, that's just unacceptable. We cannot have any government employees not receiving pay. No, the video didn't stop. I'm just stunned at the incredible magnitude of stupidity in this whole situation. Okay, so I'm back now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just wanted to make everybody who's aware and who is a money maniac aware that if you're receiving benefits, make sure you put some of that money aside because you're going to get taxed on it. And if you don't pay that tax, holy cow, watch out for the fines and fees that come later. Wait until they start auditing people who lost their jobs. Oh, that would be rich. We're going to audit you to make sure you didn't receive too much benefit. Now, remember something. This is just a glimpse into the idiocracy that universal base income could create. Listen, the government clearly does not have a good handle on things. They can't even stop their own overspending. If you as an individual were to spend like the US government spent, like every state spends, like every city and county spends in this nation, you would be thrown in jail because they never stop spending. They owe everybody money. No one would ever lend you money. No one would go near you. So what do you think's happening to this country's reputation? Our GDP is almost all government funding, government projects. What does that mean in terms of actual value creation? Here's what it means. Government doesn't create value. Only you and I create value when we exchange goods and services. That's it. That's wealth creation. The end. No fiat money, no fiat currency, no central bank, no central planning, no government agency ever ever in the history of the world created value, it always comes from two people who exchange goods and services. And that is it. All that government does and all that central banking and central planning does is steal some of that value and then redistribute it to their friends and their cronies and their lobbyists and their friend countries and whoever else happens to be close enough to them to get their ear. Or even more important, not just get their ear, help them get reelected again, right? So what is the lesson here for a money maniac? If you're receiving benefits, make sure you pretend it's like a regular paycheck and you set money aside, or you will be zapped when you file your taxes next year. Well, this year, now, 2021. Welcome to the new race. Okay, so there's the lesson. Here's the other lesson. When someone talks about universal base income, run away. Run away. Far away.
Far away.
And if you can't run away, shut them down. It's the worst idea ever. Why? Because we're talking about socialism. You're talking about communism. You're talking about fiat currency propping up everything and then completely imploding upon itself, which is exactly what's happening right now in the entire world. And of course, we all know the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That is modern monetary theory. Welcome to the real world. All right, money maniacs. Thanks for tuning in. It was great to have you back, and a happy new year to everybody. I know it's already been the new year for a few days, but I just want to make sure that everybody stays focused on becoming incredibly powerful when it comes to mastering your finances. Money maniacs take situations and information like this and they leverage it to help them make more value and more money and more leverage for themselves. So congratulations on making it to the end of this video, and hopefully you got a good laugh out of it, and hopefully it was helpful. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And more important, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So for the end of this video, as always, from now on, I'm going to say, he who has the gold makes the rules. That's the golden rule. So money maniacs, go get that gold.